Hi, I'm Amy Paulin, Assembly Member for the 88th Assembly District, and this is my show, Assembly Update, and I'm very pleased to have as my guest Tom Abinanti, who is now my colleague in the Assembly and has been my partner in government for a very long time. We've worked together on many, many things, and it's so nice to have you up here, because I know you're going to do great for the people of the state and for the people in Greenberg and Yonkers. So we've been here this is the third week. I know the viewers are going to be seeing this later on, but it's really, just the beginning. Did it meet your expectations? I know you were here as a staffer years ago. It's different being a member. It's probably a different place than it was. So what does it feel like? What are what are you hoping to do?
Well, first, thanks for inviting me. This is the second time I've been on your show. I remember several years ago I came here as a county legislator and sat with you, and we discussed working together, state-county relationship, and we did some very good things together. It's very exciting. It really is very exciting. I was here several times as a staff person. I think it's kind of more the old saying, the more things change, the more they remain the same. The players have changed. The traditions are still here, and that's important. It's good that the traditions are here. Our system of government has been designed so that things change slowly. And sometimes our constituents don't appreciate that. They want instant change. But sometimes the changes that they want are really things that they don't understand the implications of. And if you change it too quickly and haven't worked out all of the kinks and solved the negative implications, then they're going to come back to you and say, what did you do? I asked for you to do it right, not just do it. And I think the system here is such that you have to work your way through. The other thing that I'm pleasantly surprised to see hasn't changed is that members can make a difference here. There's that implication out there that leadership controls everything with an iron hand. And yes, it's a very leadership-driven place. But when you have 150 people in a room, you have to have somebody in charge. And just today, we were dealing with one of your bills in the election committee, and another bill that the chairman of the committee had put in. And there was a lot of discussion about them. And your bill went through, but the chairman's bill was held because we discovered that she had a good idea. It just wasn't done the way it should be done. And there were some negative implications that really had to be resolved. So anybody on the outside would be watching and saying, well, this is this minor little bill. It's only two sentences long. Why is it taking so long to do it? Well, because this is a big state. There's lots of different interests and people that have to be accommodated, and they're not all bad. There's a lot of good people out there who would be negatively impacted by some little change. So how do you rewrite it so that it accomplishes what it should accomplish without having negative impacts? But I'm excited. I'm really want to do this.
That's the piece that the public doesn't see. When we're on the floor, it's very formal. And again, that's the tradition, and that's great. But you don't see many bills go down on the floor because we're a committee-driven process. And it's the committee time that we have as our opportunity to really reflect on what the words are in the language, in the bill. So we can react like that and stop bills. I mean, the health committee couldn't, there's not one health committee that goes by where we don't have a tremendous discussion on various bills, and and that's appropriate and that's great. And I wish sometimes that the public could see that part of us.
Well, what we did at the Board of Legislators recently was started to stream live our committee meetings. Now that gets very messy because everybody's not on time, everybody is not necessarily dressed appropriately, everybody is not necessarily looking so formal, but that's one of the ways that you open it up to the public. But it's so hard here. You've got 150 members from such diverse parts of the state trying to come together and resolve issues that affect all of them, but affect them all differently. And each community has a different approach. I mean, I could see the difference between, you in Scarsdale look over and say, well, is there a difference between Irvington and Dobbs Ferry? Well, there's a real big difference between Irvington and Dobbs Ferry. But it's nowhere nearly the difference between those places and somewhere upstate New York.
Right.
But there's enough of a difference that people chose to live in one of those two communities, in one community rather than the other, and they have different viewpoints. And so when you understand that, and then you come here, and you realize that you're sitting down with somebody from the Hasidic community in Brooklyn, and then a guy from a farming community in upstate New York, and you're trying to resolve.
And all Assembly Democrats.
Right, all exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
No, it's you know, I mean, look, there's no question we need to improve the process. I mean, the committee meetings, they're not recorded in any way. There's no minutes taken. You know, we don't. It's the discussion. Even as a member, you know, if you miss a meeting, you don't really know what transpired because there's no way to really to get that. So there's absolute improvements.
But then we'd have to
more
hire more
transparent.
staff.
But then we have
and
to
then you'd have to have a whole process, and the public doesn't want that.
Right. It's a challenge.
So there's back and forth, and
There
you don't
is.
want to inhibit discussion either.
And you don't want to inhibit.
I mean, we had a free-flowing discussion where it wasn't party. There were Republicans on both sides and Democrats on both sides.
Right.
And we were all struggling with that issue and saying, well, how do we achieve this goal? And it was really very good, healthy discussion. And I'm sure by sometime within a month we'll have a revised version of that bill and it'll pass. But that's the point you had made before too. This is majority driven, and we don't have time to waste dealing with stuff on the floor that's not going to pass.
You mean committee driven?
It's committee driven
Yeah,
and majority driven.
Majority driven. Right.
It's so if there's not a majority of the
Right.
body that's going to vote for it, why would you put it up for a discussion on the floor and just waste
Right.
everybody's time?
Right. Although I've seen bills go down on the floor, but not many.
Not many, right?
Not many.
Well, it was somebody was misreading what the majority wanted.
Right. You know, so it's okay. So let's. So you're assigned to which committees? I know you have your assignments now.
Just last night, I was
Right.
assigned. The process is the speaker asks what you would like to serve on, and I asked for 6 committees, and he put me on 4 of them.
Yeah.
And environmental conservation, which you know, as you know, I've been a strong environmentalist in Westchester County for a long time. I was chairman of the Environment Committee on the county. So
Very good placement. Very
yes,
good.
I'm
yeah.
glad to be on that.
Great.
He put me on election law.
Ready?
I'm an election lawyer. I understand the field, and it's highly technical. And we had our first meeting today, and we went into all these technical things. He put me on corporations and what's the rest of it, and state agencies, I guess.
Authorities.
Authorities,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And that was the committee that Richard Brodsky, my predecessor, headed. And I would like to do some work in that area. I think agencies are going to be under the microscope this year, and I think this will be an important area for our state.
It's a very important committee.
And then mental health. As you know, I have a child with autism. I've been a very active member of the parents, the autism family effort through the state to try to improve conditions for people with special needs. And I think the Mental Health Committee is a good place to do that. And then lastly, he put me on libraries, which I didn't ask for. But it seems that there must be somebody from Westchester on the Libraries Committee at all times.
Absolutely. It's a tradition.
You headed the committee at one time?
I was the chair. Sandy Gallup was the chair. And Naomi Matisow was the chair. So I think there's only been 2 other chairs beside the 3 of us. So
right. Well, he didn't make me chair. I just got here. So, but at least he put me on the committee.
Right.
And you know that is an important committee, as you saw yourself. It's a part of our community that is so important to everything that goes on in our community. Libraries have become community centers. They're not just places where you hold books, and so it is, and they're forgotten. They're the first place where the cuts from the budget are placed, and but it's important. So I will work with it. I've worked with the Greenberg Library I have actually been a strong advocate for the Westchester Library system as a county legislator, and we help restore funding to them, and I've worked with them on various projects.
And they support all of our local libraries, so they're very important. You know.
So I guess I have some experience in the area.
You do, and you know how it's structured. You know, not everyone does. Libraries can be extremely complicated. People don't know there are school libraries and municipal libraries, and I don't mean the libraries inside the schools. I mean legally structured as a school district library. New Rochelle, school district library. You have municipal libraries. You have academic libraries. There's so many libraries, and how they all interface is, I think, very interesting.
There is one more. There is a law library system.
The law, that's true.
For 19 years, I was the delegate from the Board of Legislators, and sat on a 4-person panel that ran the Westchester Library. You know, I shouldn't say we ran it. I mean, we made the policy decisions, but the director was the person who ran it, obviously. But it was a judge, 2 lawyers, and then me as a lawyer, but as the representative of the Board of Legislators.
Now we need library advocates, because you know there's so many. I mean, you know, having been at the county and working with all the advocate groups, there's so many groups and ideas and important things pulling at you. that libraries can be forgotten. So you need advocates here.
We have to figure out a way to make government less expensive, but at the same time, not destroy the infrastructure that makes Westchester such a great place in which to live.
No question.
And libraries and the Environment Committee's got the same kind of effort that it's got to deal with. So I'm pleased with the committees, and I'm looking forward to it.
And I know right before the show started, you were telling me that you have a whole page full of bill ideas.
Oh yes, I've got all kinds of stuff.
And one in particular, I thought you might want to talk about, or two.
Well, you have to listen to people carefully, and that's where you come up, as that's where you come up with the ideas for legislation. Several years ago, the mayor of Tarrytown came to me and complained that there was a sewage spill in Tarrytown from one of the county sewers, and she had not been notified. And I was irate because I didn't know about it. I was the legislator for the area, and I checked around. Nobody had been notified. And there were people swimming in the Hudson River right where the sewage spill was. Nobody was told to tell these people don't swim and whatever. So I passed a law which requires the health department of the county of Westchester to notify local officials and the legislators who represent the area when there's a sewage spill. Earlier, I guess it was in December, before I left the county board, there was another sewage spill, and nobody was notified. So we brought in and chastised the new administration of how could you, this is on the law. This is a law for this very purpose. And they kind of apologized and said, okay. And I met yesterday with Riverkeeper, a representative from Riverkeeper, who was the ones who notified me and others about this sewage spill. So, and we were talking about maybe we will make that as a state law, because every community in the state should be notified by whoever it is that is controlling the sewage systems if there is a problem in the, if there's a spill into whatever river it is. It doesn't have to be the Hudson River. It could be the Bronx River. It could be the Hutchinson River. It could be any river. And that affects the life of everyone along those water bodies. So I may not just, actually our law is broader than just spills into rivers. It's any kind of an event which would endanger people in a community.
Right.
So, I'm going to look at trying to make that a state law. We'll do some research, see what the state law is on the subject.
That's great.
And also I passed a law to ban excessive motor vehicle idling. And we've already started to work to see what the state law is on that. And we're going to try to make that my law was Westchester law. Now we're going to see if we can make it a statewide law.
Oh, look, I did that when I came here.
Right, I saw that. I saw that. You borrowed some of the stuff that we had done in Westchester.
We've had the opportunity in Westchester to do, as probably many counties.
Right.
They take initiatives locally because the state hasn't taken an initiative. So they want to, you take those ideas, and if they're working well in your local community, you want to bring them up here. You want to have everyone else have the opportunity to.
The political science field borrows the term from the medical profession. They call them incubators. You try it locally and see if it works.
Right.
And if it works, then you try the next level up. And if it works there, then you try it on the federal level. But that's the way we do it. You look and say, well, this town did it this way, this town did it this way.
Right.
Which is the better way, and maybe we should do it for everybody in the county. And
I think the smoking bans work that way.
Right.
We did ours, New York City did theirs, and now we have a statewide ban. It's gone too quick. We'll have to do this again. But you've been a great guest.
Thanks very much.
I know you are a great colleague and will continue to be. So, welcome. I'm so happy you're here.
Thank you. So am I, and nice to join you. Thank you. Thank you.